Welcome to Homemaking with Mima. My name is Wendy. I'd like to welcome you to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be canning that beef stock that I created in another video. And I'm going to bring you along. And I hope it's not too noisy. So today is the day that I'm going to can this beef broth. And you might ask yourself, why am I going to so many steps? Straining it out, and why don't I just can it from here? I just find it easier for myself to do this. Do I create more dishes? Yeah, that's all right. I'm the one that does them. So I'm going to strain it, and this time I've got my other strainer inside my big strainer. We'll see how that works. Plus I'm going to strain it one more time before I put it into the jars. I've got my jars heating up in the oven. That's the beep that you heard. Because this is going to be a hot packing session. I'm going to make sure that my broth is hot on the stove. It's still really warm here. In fact, I forgot to shut it off. So there, I shut it off. And I'm going to heat it on the stove. So my jars have to be hot. My canner has to be hot. So I'm going to continue doing this. See how nice that works? Just, if you got a small one, just hang it right there. I'm going to continue doing this and filling up my, my stock pots. Didn't get very far, and I filled up the stock pot already. And as you can see, more dirty dishes, but as that drips, I'm going to get all the goodness from that as well. I went through this whole process. I'm going to get as much as I possibly can. We've gotten to the point where I can take out those soup bones, and they're falling apart, so I have to be really careful. And I'm going to salvage the meat from them. I don't know how many I have left in here. So I'm on to my third stock pot. Okay, let's see how well I can do this without making a mess. Bring it as close to me as possible. I got my rake here. Everything's on cookie sheets so I don't have it rolling all over the floor, because this has got some grease in it from the fat. That went well. Except for at the bottom, that's where you end up having a lot of the yuck. So I'm just going to reach my hand in here and get the rest of this out. All right, so that is done. So I have these two warming up on the stove. This one, there's no room because my canner is so big it takes up everything. I've got the canner on as well. Like I said, I have the jars in the oven heating up. So once I get one off of here, then I can move that one on. But look at how much stock I got, and look at how rich it looks. I'm gonna give it a quick taste to see if I need to add any more salt, and we're gonna get it canned up. I'm bringing you along for real life here, so. This is all draining. You can see the mess that my kitchen gets into because of all this, but that's okay. It doesn't happen every day, so I'm willing to sacrifice. Let me get this all straightened up a little bit better, and I'll bring you back. So once again, I'm going to follow the guidelines of the USDA Complete Guide to Home Canning. I'm going to leave a link to it in the description box below. And you can either purchase it as a book, or I believe it's free online. And I believe you can download it. So anyhow, the stock has to can at 20 minutes. In pints. As a reminder, my jars are hot. My product is hot, and you can see the grease film that I have on there. That's why I took those fat caps off, those ones that I had frozen, you know, the like roast stock and that. I knew I was gonna have some fat from all the other scraps I had in there. So it isn't gonna hurt to can the fat. You just have to make sure that your rims are clean with vinegar, because otherwise it's going to compromise, the grease is going to compromise your seal. And I have had my canner on. It's got vinegar in it, recommended water amount, and we're going to start this. So for a liquid, I don't have to debubble. If I had a solid in there, I'd have to debubble. And we're going to be canning it at a 1-inch headspace, which I'm going to measure on the side of the jar right here, or to this very first rim of your jar. I definitely have more canning to do. I got 13 wide mouth pints in here. I don't like crowding the top because that's where the top sits. I could, but I'm not going to. So yeah, I shut these off. I'm gonna let them cool down. I'm gonna put them in a container and probably get them in the refrigerator and do another canning session tomorrow. But I won't bring you along for that. We'll just do this canning session. A tip for cleaning greasy stuff. I wash the greasy stuff separate from my regular dishes, only because I put a good splash of vinegar in there. The vinegar helps cut the grease. Otherwise, everything is still going to have kind of a greasy film. No matter, it just helps. You don't have to do it. This is how I do it. It's just a good tip. So here they all are. They're not super dark like you would expect beef broth to be, but each time you do beef, look at that one, it's still just a bubbling. Yeah, beef broth is different every time you do it. You see that? They're fresh out of the canner. I have to get them covered up here. I'm gonna cover them up so no drafts get to them. I did put some vinegar in my water, but I still got a hazy film, but I'm okay with that. It'll scrub off. That one is just a bubbling away. I better get it covered up. They're all covered up now. Got them all tucked in for the night. They're gonna sit there until tomorrow morning, and I will check to make sure they sealed, and then I will get them scrubbed up, labeled, and put onto my canning shelf. So that project is done. I still have more to can, and I'm assuming I'm gonna have about the same amount. So I'm going to do them in pint-sized jars, and so I'll have just as many. So that's great. You do see that I still have everything out here. I gotta let everything dry overnight. I wanna make sure that ball electric canner where the spout is, I don't want any moisture in there when I go to put it away, because otherwise then I'm gonna have issues, and I think you know what kind of issues I'll have. So as far as canning, I use this book most of the time. Actually I use this book all the time. I refer to this as well. This is 2017. They do have the newer ball book out if you're interested in purchasing it. I believe you can get it over the counter at, like Walmart, maybe Target will have it, maybe Menards. Just check around, or you can get it online. I'm sure you can order it online. This you can order online as well, and I mentioned earlier that I will have a link to the USDA home canning guide in the description box below if you're interested in accessing it that way. It is free, and I believe you can download it for free as well if you want to print it out yourself. It is pretty, it's a lot. Or if you just want to reference it. Or you can purchase it. My husband purchased mine off of Amazon. I want to thank you folks so much for joining me during this venture of canning the beef stock. I know I get into a little bit too much description as far as my canning, but it is important. Sometimes I leave some stuff out, sometimes I don't. I apologize for that. My advice to you for canning is to read up on it, watch other YouTubers. I do have a playlist of canning as well. Just get knowledge about it if you haven't canned before, and start out. I have been doing it now for 5 years, and I love it. I wish that I was brought up canning. I was not brought up canning. It is something that I feel is not only a hobby for myself, but it also provides great food for my family. And I just enjoy doing it. All in all, I just enjoy doing it. All right, let's wrap this up. I want to thank you so much again for joining me today. If you like this kind of content, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, share with family and friends, and I want you folks to make it a really great day.